Hi guys, welcome to my channel Lush Gardener. I hope you guys are fine and are safe. In today's video we are talking about a variety of Xsedeveria which is very easy to grow. I'll put the name on the screen, you can check the name out. Now this belongs to the variety of Xsedeveria. Unfortunately the origin and the parentage of this succulent is unknown, but we can definitely identify it by the genus Xsedeveria, which means that one of the parent is a sedum and another parent is Echeveria. But the exact IDs of the varieties of her parentage is unknown. It's an extremely easy to grow succulent, very beautiful. Right now it doesn't have any colors. You can see the lower leaves, they're slightly yellow in color, and as and when the succulent gets stressed it is going to turn more yellow in color. So probably during the summers when it's their dormant period it will get a lot of stress colors. Right now it is just coming out of its growing period, hence it is very green in color, but during summers it looks extremely beautiful and almost like a different succulent altogether. I'm going to do a little bit of maintenance on this succulent because it has a bloom stalk which I am going to get rid of. A lot of times I just keep talking about it and I've never shown you what I usually tend to do with the bloom stalks. So I just reach out to a place like this. Now luckily this succulent I had to do a repotting, so it's outside the pot, so it's much easier to cut off the bloom stalk. Ideally it becomes little difficult in cutting off the bloom stalk. So here we have separated the bloom stalk, we don't need it. Apart from that, there are a lot of pups on the stem, so this indicates that it tends to reproduce faster, it tends to propagate faster. I've taken out all the dry leaves. This is what I tend to do whenever I tend to repot a succulent. I try to do a complete check of the roots. There are a little bit of new pink roots because it has been out for some time. I wanted to remove and do a little bit of cleaning, that's why it is slightly dry. Now I can see that there are a lot of pups, so this is one way you can propagate the succulent, by separating the offsets. The offsets are very tiny at this point of time. You should never separate the offsets. They will definitely die if you're going to take them out right now. They're very small, they cannot store a lot of water, they will dry out even before they tend to put out roots. So whenever they are so small, never ever separate it, let them be. You will realize it when you're going to put it into the pot. When these pups will grow, they will start to peak from here, and that's when you can cut it off once it reaches a decent size. Now what I'm also thinking is, because I've taken it out, it's going to be much easy for me to propagate this succulent. So I'm very gently going to twist and turn, and this is how I'm going to take out the leaves. You can see a very nice and clean cut. So I'm going to take out few of the leaves. This probably leaf might not get propagated because it's turned yellow. This is called as the aging of succulent. So this is turned yellow. It doesn't have a lot of water in it, but any which ways I'm still going to keep it aside for propagation. You never know when you might get lucky. So I usually do this. I take out as many as the lower leaves. This will also give the chance for the newer pups to grow. So very easy and very gently. You do not need to put a lot of pressure. If you feel any of the leaf is being a little stubborn, then just do a left and right and it's going to come out easily. So I'm going to take like a couple of these leaves from the lower portion. As you can see, this is slightly stubborn, but you just twist and turn and it's going to come out. So I'm going to take a few more because the lower leaves look slightly haywire and I just want to reduce the growth. So I think I'm done. I have a couple of leaves and that's more than enough. Now we have a little bit more space for those babies to grow as well. The earlier bloom stalk was cut. As you can see, this is the cut. It has already healed. So this is the one that I just cut. There was a lower one as well which was cut some time back. So you can see it tends to put out blooms quite often, especially during the growing period. So now I'm going to be putting it into the soil. So now it's time to pot our succulent. I'm going to show you how to pot it because it has a lot of pups beneath. So we have to ensure that the pups are above the soil level and they do not kind of get stuck into the soil. So let's completely fill this up. I have my soil mix ready. I have some activated charcoal as well. If you're wondering what are those black stuff, that is my activated charcoal. So I'm going to not completely, but I'm just going to fill it a little bit. and then I'm going to place my succulent, and then we're going to check how much amount of soil we need to add in order to completely bury the stem, but ensuring that the pups are not inside the soil. So I'm just going to take some more of the soil, because it's so windy over here. It becomes little difficult to pot succulents and grow them. I'm going to take a little bit more of soil. We're just going to adjust it so that our pups are going to shake the pot a little bit. And now, as you can see, I'm just trying to make some way for my pups. Probably I will take out some of the soil. Now this is enough for the succulent to grow. I'm just trying to clear up the area where there are pups. And as you can see, now we are just above the soil level. Some of this activated charcoal. Now I don't remember where did I get this other activated charcoal from, because this was just lying down in my storeroom. I'm not quite sure, because this is a little bit different compared to the one that I had earlier. This is more cylindrical in shape, or more like pellets. I'm not very sure where did I get this, because this was in my storeroom. I'm not very sure. The other ones were much flatter, but these are more like in a form of pellets, so it's going to work out really well. Now you can see the succulent is it's not in the center, but that's absolutely fine, because then these pups are going to come up. It kind of looks like it's out of place. It has a lot of more room to grow, so that in case if the pups come up, it's going to be much easy. Another thing somebody had asked me is why do I plant succulents in single pots? Now this is completely a personal choice. I mean, you can definitely add another 2 or 3 succulents in such a pot. It is quite wide. You can even add another 2 or 3 varieties, but I usually prefer to keep like one variety of succulent in one pot. That's because I have the luxury of space right now, because I've moved to a new place. But yes, a lot of people who do not have a lot of place, then obviously you can make a little bit more use of space by adding in few more succulents. Probably 2 or 3 should be good enough in a pot like this. It's not a very deep pot, because these guys, they do not grow that huge. I mean, they don't grow their roots that huge. They usually start to clump up. They belong to the variety of Xsedeveria, so they don't grow like really huge. Probably another 1 or 2 inches more, and then it'll start putting out a lot of pups. So maybe in a year or so, this pot will be completely filled with pups, but I usually tend to separate them and propagate them once they reach a decent size. So usually I don't have an issue. So if you're going to talk about repotting the succulent, I think probably maybe after 2 years, this, or maybe not, I'm going to leave it as it is in this pot. I usually do not repot my succulents quite often. This one I had to repot because it was with other succulents, and now that I have a lot of space, so right now I'm just placing each succulent in one pot so that I can have a fair idea of how many varieties I have. So probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep these guys separate, because I have never propagated leaves from the bloom stalk. So I'm going to keep these guys separate. I'm very confident about this, that these will start to root very soon, but I'm not very confident about this, and I do not want to mix both, because I do not have much experience with growing the bloom stalk leaves for propagation. I don't know if they are going to get propagated. Only time will let us know. So that's all about it. I'm going to make an update video of the leaves whenever they tend to show any sign of growth. Talking about the sunlight, it is a variety of Xsedeveria. Ensure that you give it a good amount of either morning direct sunlight for 5 to 6 hours or indirect bright light. But you have to ensure that there is a good amount of light. If you do not give it enough light, it will start to stretch. If you're going to keep it in indirect bright light, it won't stretch, but you won't be able to see a lot of colors. But when you tend to put it out in morning direct sunlight for 5 to 6 hours, you will be able to see a very beautiful orange color on this succulent. A slightly orange to reddish color. It is going to look absolutely beautiful. So try, if you have an option to give morning direct sunlight 5 to 6 hours, nothing like it. But if you do not have, because a lot of people do not get morning direct sunlight, then indirect bright light is absolutely fine. So as of now, I'm going to let these guys callus. I will put them on dry soil, and I'm going to keep both of these together, and let's see what tends to work out. Or probably I'm going to keep these guys separate. So I'm going to be using the same soil mix that I use for all of my propagation. If you want to know a little bit more about the soil mix, I'll put the link in the description below. You can check it out. It's a complete detailed video of how to prepare soil mix for propagation. The soil mix is slightly different from what we tend to use for our adult succulents, so it's a little bit different. Now this is the leaf. I'm not very sure whether it's going to work out, so I'm going to keep it right at the end, and I'm going to let all of the other succulents tend to grow on this. So this is dry soil completely, so I'm just going to lay all of these on this soil mix. So I think this container turned out to be really big for these guys. I usually tend to save as much as space as I can when I'm trying to propagate it, because I do not want to waste a lot of space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a few more of the leaf propagation. This is called being greedy. So, and just I don't want to waste much space, because there is enough space. I usually keep them like really close to each other, so this should be good. I've taken another 2 extra leaves because I do not want to waste. I'm going to take some more. It's just being a little bit greedy with growing of succulents. So I think I'm going to keep it like this so that they all can grow. I usually tend to do bottom watering for my succulent. So I am pretty much done. I do not want to push in any more leaves, even though I would love to put some more leaves, but I think I'm just going to stop over here. I do not want to be more greedy. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Ideally we have 16, but I'm only going to count 15 because I know this is not going to work out really well. So we are pretty much done. I do not want to push in some more leaves. I will give you an update as and when there is a good amount of progress. As you can see, all of the leaves are facing upwards. This is how you're supposed to do. A lot of people put it the other way around. That is also okay. It's just that the pups are going to struggle a little bit to come, or the pups will start growing the other side. It will be a little difficult, and then you have to turn it around. So it's always better to put your succulents upwards like this. I have shown you earlier as well. When you tend to see the curve that is there beneath, that has to come like this so that the cut is facing upwards. If you're going to put it the other way around, the pup will still come up. That's going to be a little difficult for the pup. It's going to be a struggle for the pup to come up, and at the same time there are going to be roots, so probably it's going to be a little difficult for the pup. It will struggle, and we do not want our new pups to struggle at all. But again, it completely depends upon you, however you want to do. This is one of the way that I found it's much easy to propagate rather than doing that, because I've also seen some people propagating succulent leaves like this. A lot of people tend to also do it like this, but I think I just prefer them to be like this. Again, it completely depends upon you. It's your choice, whatever you feel comfortable with, because it's your succulent, it's your propagation. As long as you feel happy, it shouldn't be a problem. Now, talking about these, I am going to put them in another pot because I'm not very sure. Again, I will do an update. When I'm going to do an update of these leaves, I will also put an update of these bloom leaves as well. I hope that I get some success at least, because again, there are so many leaves and that can give a lot of pups. So fingers crossed, and let's see what happens next. So guys, I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep propagating.